Hey guys, Mesmerizing Sylvia here, and today I'm going to be reading a Alastor fanfiction that I wrote. So here we go. Radio's Odd Melody, Book 1, Hidden in Radio. Chapter 1, Once Upon a Symphony. Darkness. For a single long moment, darkness is all I can see. Am I dead? I must be. Otherwise, the world surrounding me right now would not appear so cold and lifeless. But if I am dead, how can I be breathing? Curious. Might I be dreaming then? I bite myself lightly on the arm and immediately wince in pain. Oh, so it is not a dream. I close my eyes, thinking back on everything that has happened recently, when I suddenly realize that I cannot remember a single detail. It is all gone. I seem to have lost it somehow. You might say I'm a lucky duck for not remembering my past. That is, if it were a shameful one. However, with my memory gone, I do not care much anymore. All I want is to know what on earth is going on and why I ended up here. Without warning, the ground gives way beneath me and I am sent falling down some mysterious hole. It is a bit like the rabbit hole that the movie Alice in Wonderland fell through, but this is no fairy tale. And this is all really happening to me. Everything around me is very real. My eyes are open this time, and looking far below me is what appears to be a pentagram. My memory might be gone, but there are still a few locked-up memories inside of me, and I know for a fact that pentagrams have to do with hell and summoning the dead. A hellish coincidence, you might say. I pass the pentagram and continue to fall, coming closer and closer to the actual ground. I hit the hard ground without any sort of warning or omen, and the black void welcomes me once again. Have I died again? What's going on? Those are the two things I think of first when I am awake once again. Nothing makes sense anymore. Have I experienced some type of double death? Or am I simply just dead for real this time? Did I ever die at all? My eyes flicker open after much contemplation, and I take a look at my surroundings. I realize that I am no longer on Earth, nor is my body planted in the earth 6 feet underground. It begins to sink in that I am experiencing neither life nor death. In any case, it remains a mystery to me. Ah, you're awake now, I see. I hear some strange voice and try to find it. It is quite odd-sounding, and it is unsettling in a way. It is very unnatural and lacks a humane tone. It sounds much more like a person is talking through a phone speaker. I notice a tall man in a red suit standing in front of me. He smiles broadly at me, despite the fact that my situation is anything but something to be happy about. He appears to have deer-like qualities. He has ears atop his head and a pair of small antlers. Or that is what I can only assume they are. Although it may be his hair, and I might be mistaken, he rests his hands on his staff in a nonchalant way. Did you have a good rest, my dear? He asks calmly, as if my presence is nothing new to him. I quietly ponder how I am going to answer his question. He does not seem to be concerned about me, although it is quite hard to tell with his smile. It doesn't give off happiness either. It simply seems a large part of him and nothing else. However, it would be quite rude to keep his question unanswered. Who I am and where I come from does not matter at the moment. Besides, if I want answers, I shall have to wait patiently and decide what to do with this strange person first. I stand up and dust myself off. I appear to be in the same spot I landed in not long ago. Or was it hours ago that I arrived? I shook my head. No matter now. I faced the man with resilience and a touch of curiosity. Yes, well, I began. I cannot say it was enjoyable. I seem to not know where I am, sir. Would you be so kind as to explain? Certainly, young one, the red man responds cheerfully. I'm starting to get used to his voice. You are my daughter. I pause, not seeming to understand the words spoken. Daughter? What nonsense! Either I've gone insane or this old man is some delinquent. This is most definitely what I didn't expect from him. I thought my face would give away the simple fact that I just didn't quite believe him. But he still stood there, because I have no answer. I do not recall ever meeting this man. There is not a single detail about him that seems familiar to me. I continue to stare questioningly at him, trying to come up with an answer as to why he is here and how the fuck he knows me. You seem to have forgotten everything, my dear, Alastor says, taking notice of my expression now. Ah, yes, well, memory can be a bit tricky down here in hell, so allow me to kindly remind you why you are here. I have no objection to this, and so I nod my head and sit down. I have a feeling this will be a long tale to tell. I heard him speak of hell. So that must be where I am right now, and that means that I'm truly dead. And that hole I fell through must have been a portal to hell. That being said, I must listen to this Alastor fellow, and hear him out. I've got nothing left to lose anyhow. Now, my dear, Alastor begins. Sophie, was it? Well, not that your silly old human name matters any more. Seeing as you're in hell, and you belong to me for eternity, I may call you whatever I wish. Let's see here. Since you will be my adoptive daughter, do you mind if I call you something similar to my name? Oh, silly me, it won't matter now, will it? I'll call you Alastor. Well, my dear, this is all very simple. In your life on earth as a human, you lived a musical sensation. You used your voice in such a splendid manner to bring joy to all of those around you. You put on a fantastic show every night. However, you were attacked by your ex-boyfriend, and in your defense, you killed him. He died by your hands. Then your case was dealt with by the police, and you were sentenced to death. And well, the rest should seem very simple to you. Alastor grins that stupidly wonderful grin at me, awaiting my answer. It takes a few small moments to take in this information, and my heart, I know it is true, but at the same time, I do not wish to believe it for myself. I had heard of making deals with demons, but when had I ever made a deal with this one? But if that's all true, when did I make a deal with you, Alastor? I asked curiously. The demon's smile seemed to grow ever wider, and I fought the urge to step back a little. I wondered if all demons were this way. I wouldn't know, since this was my first encounter with a demon. After all, Alastor laughed in a sort of silly and friendly manner, as if telling a joke to a friend. Yes, you're right. I have forgotten to mention that, he said, patting my head. 5 years before that, you summoned me through your pentagram, dear. This was when you first realized you had no hope of anyone ever loving you as far as romantic tendencies go. Your lover turned out to be a psychotic mess and tried to kill you. And in your desperation, you made a deal with me. Our deal being that when you died, you would belong to me for all eternity. I would take you in as my own and offer protection to you. Not only that, but you would be made in my image, of course. You would be sort of like a daughter to me, and someone to rely on in times of great need. And, well, here we are. Welcome to hell, my child. With every word that left his lips, I could feel my memories coming back to me, and I began to reminisce. My old life flashed before me, and I could suddenly recall everything. It was true that I had not been happy in my former life. Orphaned at such a young age and forced to work my way up to fame, things had never been easy for me. And in my depression, I fell victim to addiction. Drugs and alcohol had quickly become my coping mechanisms. No one really wants to become addicted, but once it starts, it almost becomes impossible to stop. It is a last resort. It seems like it's the only way out, but you start to realize what you are doing, and at that point, you know you can't stop what's coming. I turned to Alastor and gave him a smile of my own. There's a smile, my dear, Alastor said, noticing my expression changing. You know you never fully starts without a smile. Now come along, Alastor. We have a lot of work to do. And that is how my life began in hell. I was taken in by some strange deer of a demon. For a moment, I wondered if there was hope for me down here in this place. I had heard terrible things about it in my mortal life, but then again, I had not paid much attention to religion. So undoubtedly, I had a lot to learn about what life was like here. And like my life before, I felt the urge to sing, and so I did. It was not like anything I had ever sang while in the living world. In fact, I had not ever taken the time to write and create the song. It came quite naturally, and surprisingly, Alastor did not appear to mind it. I was uncertain as I began to sing the song, but as it went on, I found myself getting quite comfortable with it. Even in death, I hadn't lost my touch. I wondered if you had to have jobs down here and if money existed. Greed was one of the sins, so it must be. Alastor and I continued walking side by side as I sang. My song was of uncertainty and at this new beginning in hell. I had no idea where Alastor was taking me. Surely it was nowhere nice. This was hell after all. Glancing around, I could see many other demons and sinners and such using their time down here to gorge and killing each other and committing heinous crimes which could land you in jail back on earth. Of course, down here no such thing existed, and they were free to do whatever they wished. That also meant that I could kill as many people as I wanted to without having to face the consequences. And depending on how powerful a demon I had become in this life, I could easily overpower anyone who got in my way. I had not seen him in action, but I could already tell he was powerful. I stopped singing, lost in thought. Now, don't be afraid to continue, my dear, Alastor encouraged. You have quite the talent there, young lady, and I have a feeling it could prove to be quite useful down here, so don't be shy, my dear. I smiled for real this time. I was well aware that I didn't care for others, but with him being my stand-in dad by contract, it still meant a lot to me that he was saying such sweet things about me. For me, the part about him becoming my dad actually meant quite a lot to me. I thought of him as my real father, and even though we had just met, I had high hopes that maybe one day he might feel the same way. I had never known the feeling of having parents. I was abandoned as a baby. From the moment I was born, I became unwanted. I was seen as an extra mouth to feed, an inconvenience. I had been given a new chance at life thanks to Alastor, and I had a strong feeling that I was going to feel much happier with Alastor. I was already relieved that it wasn't over yet. I couldn't tell what Alastor was feeling since he seemed to like smiling all the damn time. I suppose that was a part of him. It was nice to know that there was someone in hell who would always be smiling, no matter what terrible things might be coming. Thanks, Dad. So, I hope you guys enjoyed that first chapter. I have not actually looked back at my story in forever. Also, I'm really sorry if my voice cracks at certain points of that, or if I talk super fast. I'm not really sure how this reading out loud thing is going to go, but I think I did pretty well, so if you guys want this to continue and want me to do it again, I can. Thanks for watching, listening, whatever you were doing, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!